Hi, everybody. My name is Alane Freund with Are You Highly Sensitive Live, and I'm here with my friend and colleague, Candy Crawford, who is also a therapist outside the Chicago area, and I'm outside San Francisco. But we're both international consultants on high sensitivity, and we work together and teach together, and we were introduced to each other by Elaine because we're in the family and supporting families with highly sensitive children and highly sensitive parents world. So thank you so much for being here, Candy. We've been talking about, discipline and behavior in highly sensitive children and making some little videos because I'm getting ready to do a webinar on it. And there's so much to consider, isn't there? My gosh.
Yes, it's a very layered, yes.
And you were saying that when I first said this thing about how you're not allowed to correct a sensitive child when they're overwhelmed or overstimulated.
Yes, we were shocked. Can I share that?
Yeah, please.
We're at this teaching format, and it's very intense. And Alane says everyone's listening, writing, taking notes, and Alane says, something like, best practice says a parent should never discipline in the moment, something like that. With a highly sensitive child, it's best not to ever discipline in the moment. And I remember thinking, wow, that's kind of a big error to make in front of the crowd. Wow. And then, long story short, it was really powerful wisdom, and it was making the point that it's not effective. And when the kid is aroused or overwhelmed, and the parent is charged and activated by the kid's misbehavior or acting out, typically in that moment, it's not the time you're going to really intervene with words or a tone or consequences or get out of it, all the things we want to do as parents.
Like when they're having a screaming fit in the grocery store if they're young children, or they're a teenager and they're having a total meltdown.
So it's, again, common of best practice of what to do in the moment.
Yeah, and it's really hard because you want to stop the behavior, but if you think about it, nobody can learn when they're over aroused. I mean, I can think of a million times when I've been sort of spinning with over arousal, which looks like anxiety and pretty much feels like anxiety and pretty much is anxiety, and I've been trying to get some work done, or I don't know, read something, self-help. Yes. It doesn't matter, whatever it is, you just can't learn in that moment. And so the children for sure can't. But what do you do about it?
Well,
what?
No, I agree with you. That happened to me this morning. I was trying to complete a writing project, and I was getting overwhelmed myself. And so I think that the brain really doesn't, it's not effective. Something happens physiologically and you're not effective at all. But what I was going to tell you is I've recently read research on how they measured kids, highly sensitive kids, physiologically that they even sense a tone, almost energetically, and I'm hesitant to use that word, but they sense the tone more than anything. It's their first breath almost, is the tone of that parent. And again, in the heat of
right? Yeah.
moment, that's your gut. My tone wants to be horrible in the heat of the moment because you're activated too. That's the time when you want space. And so more reminders for all of us of how these kids, they really are wired in a different way, and they're absorbing the looks and the tone and our exasperation. Like, I want to get exasperated with our dog right now and yell at it. Great example. Kind of boring, but she's 85 pounds and she's barking her head off at the Amazon guy. So I want to yell and do what would not. Oh, so my kid just did and yelled at her. All right, sorry.
We can't hear. So when the child or the teen, it doesn't really matter. You and I both have young adults now, but so we've been through all the ages. When they're melting down and freaking out, what is it that they do need? And you're inferring, first of all, that they need us to take some deep breaths and to not be activated with them. And I just want to freely admit that's not always easy to do. but whatever it takes. For me, it takes push-ups. I don't know about you, but, or a run. You know, I can't run anymore, but do you run, Candy? What do you do to get back to your optimal level of arousal?
I don't run, but mentally, I try to remember again, what space am I creating for this kid? What space? And I'm very hyper remembering, you'll have to edit that out, sorry. That again, I'm part of the energy system there in that room. So when someone's overwhelmed or sad or disappointed or agitated, I want to be as calm as I can. So mentally,
But it's hard.
I don't think it's ever easy. It's not, how about this? It's not natural. You almost feel like you're pressing, but that wouldn't work either. So again, it's kind of like a first reaction thing of I pause. I always try to pause, catch myself before I take action of my face or my hands, even of wanting to, even settle it down. I try to pause first. And I think there's powerful things that happen even in the pausing.
Oh my gosh, the pause is everything. I think too that the children, whatever age, they learn to do these things from seeing us do them. I think it's really important that we have our process in front of them, and make our mistakes and later. So when do you discuss what it begs the question, if you can't correct them when they're having a meltdown or they're doing something really, bombastic, like highly sensitive children can often do when they're over aroused, it's later that you have the conversation about it and kind of, pick it apart and talk about what your experience was and asking them what their experience was. And it's really, I think something we have to be careful about is to be very clear and really quite strict with our sensitive children, that we have really clear boundaries and guidelines for how we act in our family. At the same time, to not be, kind of critical and overcorrecting, even though these children are often quite critical, they can't take it. They give it out, but they can't take it back. And it's such an important thing. The other thing I was thinking about this was that in the description, I was writing up the description for this webinar on discipline and behavior in highly sensitive children. And I said, the secret sauce is an ounce of prevention. An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. So I spent a lot of time with my highly sensitive child, and I encourage my parent clients to do this, to figure out what makes those things happen and what makes them not happen, those meltdowns.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's really wise.
I just want to take a moment and acknowledge that this is hard work, parenting sensitive children. It's still hard work for me. How about you?
It is. And and we've talked a lot about this, is the parents needing to work with themselves, tend to themselves, again, trying to get the self-regulation going each day, of, again, being preventative, like, okay, what usually causes this day to get hard? When I like to do little reviews. How did the day not go well? What were the hard points in yesterday? What was there too much caffeine? What did we go too far, with lessons or whatever? Just really doing a little check. And then again, like you just said, then the day is fresh and new, and you kind of want to restructure the day to allow the kids and the parents to be in the most peaceful place. Again, it's all ideal and doing your best, but bathing yourself in grace, and reminding each other, hey, boy, this is a unique situation. We're doing the best we can. And I love that you're trying, and then taking a lot of breaks, getting outside whenever possible, even if it's for 2 minutes, can make a difference.
Oh, absolutely. And doing stuff with your child where you're both at your optimal level of arousal, and maybe that's being outside or whatever that thing is, where you're both happy and it's easy to have those moments together. But Candy, you're making me think of another topic I would really like to address in another video, and I'll link to it in this video. So, but what I'm thinking about is how important it is that the parents be on the same page, and how challenging that can be, because I know that you and your husband really work on that. So can we do a talk about that?
You bet.
All right, let's sign off for now. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. All right, see ya.
Bye.